I bet your webcam can't see things this close up. Well, this is the Ideacam S1 Pro, which has been sent to us by BenQ, which as well as being a regular webcam, it comes with a 15 times magnetic magnifying lens, which allows you to get amazingly close to objects, which would be great for identifying issues or reading letters and numbers from electronic components, for example. And it's also a webcam for your video calls. The head slots into place on the stand, but this doesn't lock in place, so you will need to be careful not to turn it upside down as it will fall off the stand. It can be tilted at a 90-degree angle for overhead shots, and the fact that it is loose in the stand means that you can quickly switch to using it handheld, which is very useful to get the full benefit of the magnification lens. There's two buttons on top, one to enable the inbuilt light and the other to freeze the image, but the freeze only works in the BenQ software, and it also comes with a magnetic privacy cover. The mount is very well built with some weight to it, and it does come with a locking system to prevent it from moving around once set up. You also get a mounting hole if you wish to mount this onto a tripod. Included is a wireless remote control which is plug and play, so no drivers need to be installed, but this only works in the Enspire software, which is downloadable from BenQ. So if you want to use the remote in software like OBS or Zoom, then you will need to screen share the Enspire software for the remote to work. It is very well built and it allows you to toggle between auto and manual focus. We can get it to refocus, mute the microphone, take a snapshot, or freeze the image on the screen, which is quite a useful feature, as well as rotate it like a dial, and this allows you to zoom in and out. There is a web-based version of the Enspire software if you don't want to download it to your computer, but taking a look at the installed offline version, and there's plenty of options to play around with in here. Resolutions range from 2448p all the way down to 480p. The usual options like changing the white balance and brightness etc. are in here. Manually configuring the zoom can be done, as well as flipping the image horizontally or vertically. Keystone adjustment is available using the sliders, or you can do a manual selection if you know what you're doing, which obviously we don't. Making notes on screen is also available too, if that's something that you feel would be of benefit. We also have this unusual ruler option, which is not something I've ever seen before, and this allows you to select things like distance, radius and angle, but you must be using the magnifying lens for this mode for it to all make sense. We have the manual options to configure focus, and rather than using the remote control to control the freeze or the microphone, this can all be done in the software. There's a QR code scanning option too, which responds very quickly, and this will give you a link, but clicking on confirm doesn't actually send you to the link, so not sure what the benefits of this are. Now, the image quality that we get when we are looking at electronics is outstanding. It would be amazing for inspecting a motherboard to see if there are any physical issues with capacitors or resistors, and as well as having that magnification lens installed, you can still zoom even further using the remote, and we do get a good image with a lot of detail. Now, if you wanted to do some soldering, then that magnification lens would be in the way, preventing you from doing so you will need to mount it higher up and use the zoom without the magnification lens installed if you want it to work on a circuit board. When tilting the webcam downwards, it will automatically flip the image the correct way, and we get a really good result when focusing on text, with the option of zooming in further without too much of a loss in quality and everything still being readable. The online version of the software has the extra feature of being able to bring in another webcam into your presentations, with the option of screen sharing too if you have information which needs to be shown. There's also a scanner option where we can highlight something like text in a book and save the extract as an image file. The 2448p mode will give you the best quality. The automatic focus seems a little sensitive with it keep trying to refocus on us, but remember that you can manually set this to prevent it from happening. The highest resolution is a 4:3 image, but we've tested it in OBS using some of the 16:9 resolutions. In a dark room with just the glow from our monitors, and we can be seen, but with a lot of grain to the image, which is what I was expecting. Switching on the ring light on the front doesn't bring any improvements to the image, and I would recommend using this really just for close-up shots of objects rather than a video call. Having natural light coming in through the window, and it's an improvement to the quality, although we're not looking amazingly crisp, even though we are using the 3264 by 1836 resolution. Also, the movement doesn't look very fluent, as though we're not reaching the 30 frames per second that this webcam is capable. We then dropped the resolution down to 1080p, and we lost a little in the image quality, but the movement did look better in this mode. We didn't experience any bending to the size of the image either, which is good. When sitting at our desk next to the window, then we are overexposed on the side of our face, and the webcam does attempt to refocus itself, but never quite getting that crisp final image. We did attempt to manually configure the exposure in OBS, OBS, and all this did was make the movement so jerky that it was unusable. So we upgraded the resolution back to 1836p, but didn't really see any improvement in the quality. Using a small ring light in front of us, and it began a little blurry, but the autofocus kicked in and it did look better. When moving our hands close to the lens, this did make the colours change, which I imagine is the automatic white balance detecting a change and readjusting itself. The movement does look as though we are getting the full 30 frames per second now. We then changed it to its full 2448p resolution, and this is where we got a much more crisp image. The only issue with this mode is that it is 4:3 in scaling, which is why you can see the animated background which is being shown in our OBS, as we can't fill the frame without stretching the image. Using two ring lights in front of us, and it looks pretty good. Still not crystal clear when using the 1080p resolution, and there is a little bit of noise which can be spotted in the background and on our hoodie, but this would be good enough for video calls. We had the same experience using the 1836p mode, with not having much of a change in the overall picture quality, and still having the noise on the image. Switching on some backlights behind us while still using the ring lights, and it looks okay, but not an amazing picture. We do look more in focus when we come closer to the lens, but it's almost as though the top part of our face is more in focus compared to the bottom, which is a little weird. This was the same case with the 1836p image, and we didn't really notice a detectable change in the image quality. Now, focusing on an object is where the S1 does its best work. It does take a few seconds for it to detect that something is close to the lens, but it brings it nicely into focus and we get ourselves a good result. Again, it takes a few seconds to refocus on us when we move that object away, but it does get there. Removing our green screen in OBS was a bit of a frustrating experience. It removed most of the green screen, but we were left with these flickering spots on our hoodie and flickering on the back of our chair. We tried adjusting the brightness of our lights, and we spent some time playing with the sliders in OBS, and we did eventually get something which looked a little better, but we still had that flickering on the chair. This is a microphone test using the BenQ Ideacam S1 Pro. This is the kind of audio you can expect from the inbuilt microphone. This is a microphone test using the BenQ Ideacam S1 Pro. This is the kind of audio you can expect from the inbuilt microphone.